1:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Several programs will be conducted to strengthen the reconciliation mechanism in the country. Prices of bread and other bakery products will be reduced. Agriculture Ministry issues notice on urea fertilizer distribution. Court issues arrest warrant on MP Vimal Veeravangsa. In world news, UK MPs to vote on report that said ex-PM misled the Parliament. Minister Vidya Sadapaksa said that several programs will be conducted to strengthen the reconciliation mechanism in the country. A draft bill relevant to this matter has already been prepared by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Justice. He told the SLBC that it will be submitted to the Parliament after completing the discussions with the relevant parties. Accordingly, measures will be taken to maintain the Office of Missing Persons and Reconciliation Office. Societies will be established on rural level to safeguard the independence, respect and to safeguard reconciliation activities of the rural people. Trade Minister Nalin Fernandez said necessary advice has been given to reduce prices of bread and other bakery products. He told the SLBC the decision has been taken at a meeting held with the bakery owners last week. Accordingly, a loaf of bread will be reduced by 10 rupees. Minister of Agriculture said that sufficient amounts of urea fertilizer have been provided to the agrarian service centres. Measures have been reportedly taken to deliver an initial amount of 5,100 metric tons of urea fertilizer to the agrarian service centres across the island, while another stock of 1,000 metric tons of fertilizer is also scheduled to be distributed today. Furthermore, the Minister of Agriculture noted that if urea fertilizer stocks are not available in the agrarian service centre, information can be accessed by contacting the sales manager of the Colombo Commercial Fertilizer Limited through telephone number 077 551 0674 or distribution manager of Ceylon Fertilizer Company Limited via 077 444 1417. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Colombo Chief Magistrate Court has issued an arrest warrant against MP Vimal Veeravangsa for failing to appear before the court, when the case over his 2016 protest in front of the UN office in Colombo was taken up this morning. Later, the court also ordered the case to be recalled on the 11th of September. The case was filed on charges of causing public inconvenience by blocking the roads around the United Nations UN office in Tumulla, Colombo, when the UN Human Rights Commission Prince Zayed Al Commissioner Hussein visited Sri Lanka in 2016. A symposium will be conducted to mark the completion of the Let the Women Decide Margin project. This project, funded by the European Union and implemented by the Sri Lanka Centre for Development Facilitation in collaboration with 5 partner organizations, has had a profound impact on the lives of 3 categories of vulnerable women in Sri Lanka. The symposium aims to showcase all the essential components of the project and highlight the positive changes it has brought upon the lives of female workers. That was local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Secretary of the Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Sumarathan Vidhanapatran, said that special programs have been prepared to obtain the contribution of the people who are living in archaeological sites to conserve and to safeguard the archaeological places. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight, residents had requested the relevant official to recommence the bus number 175 Kolapitiya Kalimula route, which was halted at night time due to the COVID pandemic earlier. They also pointed out the employees who are serving in night times are facing many hardships due to the non-operation of this service. This was the attention of the Superintendent of Angala Depot. That came to you in Watchlight. In world news, UK MPs to vote on report that said ex-PM misled Parliament. Woman who was knocked in a coffin at her funeral dies after a week in hospital. And Switzerland referendum, voters back carbon cuts as glaciers melt. MPs will decide later whether to endorse a report that found Boris Johnson deliberately misleading Parliament over the lockdown parties in number 10. A long inquiry from the Commons Privileges Committee said former Prime Minister committed repeated offences with his Partygate denials. It recommends he should have been suspended from the Commons for 90 days if he had remained an MP. Rishi Sunak is yet to confirm whether he will vote on its findings. It will be a free vote for Tory MPs, meaning party managers known as whips will not instruct them what to do at the vote, which is expected to take place on Monday evening after a debate. An Ecuadorian woman has died days after mourners at a funeral were shocked to find her alive in her coffin. Bella Montoya, 76, was the first declared dead woman by the doctors at a hospital in the city of Balboa last week. But when mourners attending her wake heard her knocking on her coffin, she was immediately rushed back to the same hospital for treatment. After 7 days in intensive care, Ecuador's health ministry confirmed she had died on Friday from an ischemic stroke. Ministry statement added that she had remained under permanent surveillance while at the hospital. Voters in Switzerland have backed a new climate bill designed to cut fossil fuel use and reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The government says the country needs to protect its energy security and the environment as glaciers melt rapidly in the Swiss Alps. The law will require a move away from the dependence of imported oil and gas towards the use of renewable sources. In Sunday's referendum, 59.1% of voters backed the green energy proposals. Back to the headlines of the World News. UK MPs to vote on report that said ex-PM misled the Parliament. Woman who knocked on her coffin at funeral dies after a week in hospital. Switzerland referendum, voters back carbon cuts as glaciers melt. That was World News.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Deshak Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Governor of Sri Lanka and Maldives of the Rotary Club Pudu de Souza said more than 2 billion rupees have been allocated on behalf of social welfare activities in the country. Participating at a ceremony held at the Colombo port city, he said that objective of the Rotary Club is to convert Sri Lanka free from cervical cancer by 2030.
Vacancies for women from Deshak Sri Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 500 500.
On to sports news, the qualifying match of the ICC World Championship will be held today in Bulawayo under A group. Sri Lanka team and the UAE team are to compete. Sri Lanka won the 2 one-day matches they played against the UAE. An unofficial cricket match is being played between Sri Lanka A team and the South Africa A team in Colombo. Batting first, Sri Lanka team scored 112 runs for 2 wickets when the match was halted for lunch. That came to you in Sports Lives.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A leading mobile phone company of the Trans-Asia Cellular Private Company Limited has opened its first foreign trade outlet in the UAE in Dubai recently. The company hopes to develop their businesses in worldwide. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news, it has been approved by an investigation conducted by the Ministry of Agriculture that the harvest of rice will be exceeded 300,000 metric tons after the forthcoming Maha season cultivation. That is economic news.
Weather report.
Several spells of showers will occur in Gamoa, central and northern provinces, in the Gaul, Matra and Puttalam districts. A few showers will occur in the north central province and in the Kurunagala district. Shower thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva province and the Ampan and Batticaloa districts during the evening or night. Strong winds can be expected at times the western slope to Central Hills, North Central Province and in the Puttalam, Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. And back to the headlines of the news. Several programs will be conducted to strengthen the reconciliation mechanism in the country. Prices of bread and other bakery products will be reduced. Agriculture Ministry issued notice on urea fertilizer distribution. Court issues arrest warrant on MP Vimal Veeravangsa. In world news, UK MPs vote on report that said ex-PM misled the Parliament. That ends afternoon news broadcast from Radio Sri Lanka.